Hey folks, time for another process server story. Okay, this is a small claims paper where it kind of got a little hairy a little bit, but it really was just a bunch of talk and no action on one of the parties involved. I train and mentor process servers, and I had one of my mentorees, he had received a serve in like his apartment complex, or it's more condominium complex, and he says, I see her walking around and stuff, but while he's out walking his dog, and so, but he was never able to serve her. So he ended up, subcontracting it to me to try to serve. It was a woman, and I knew exactly where she lived, and being that he had went to the door several times, there was no point on me going and knocking on the door, because that's what's the point. If you've tried it already and they don't come to the door, I'm not doing that again. So I told my trainee, I was like, look, when you see her again, just call me. So he basically saw that she would come out in the morning around a certain time, and it looked like she was probably going to work. And so I was like, okay. So what I ended up doing is I ended up going the next day around that same time, and I was basically, where their place was located, I couldn't park where I could see the inside, see the door or anything like that. So what I ended up doing is just kind of just standing in the walkway, probably about 30 feet away from the door. And I'm just standing there, about 10, 15 minutes goes by. This man comes out of the house, and he kind of walks towards their parking lot, and he's like looking around and stuff. And I'm just, but I'm kind of hiding in the bushes a little bit, because I'm waiting on her to come out. And so then he comes back, goes back in the house, and then the woman, because I had a picture of her, she comes out the house and starts walking down the sidewalk. And I'm like, I call her, Jane Doe, come here for a minute, I got some papers for you. She takes off running. And there's a car parked in the parking lot, and she jumps in the car, but in the passenger side of the car. And then so I get, by the time I get up to the car, she's like, playing one of these things, like looking, I'm like tapping on the window. She's like looking like this, like she ain't paying attention. You know what I mean? Trying to, like, putting your head in the sand, like, okay, he's not really looking for me. But her window was open about that much. She didn't have the window closed. So the guy comes up behind me, and he's cussing me out. Get the F away from my car. Get the F away from my car. Da 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 da. And I'm like, ma'am, I got some legal papers. Get the F away from my car. Get the F away from my car. So what he had done is when he came out, he went and got the car and parked it right by the walkway so she could come out and get in and they could take off. But by the time, she came out, I was right behind her. So I just tossed the papers into the window, and then I, took off. And literally, she was served with those small claims papers. That's how it went. So if you want to learn how to become a process server, I mentor and train process servers, and I have an online process server trainer course where I teach you who to serve, how to serve, and how to fill out the paperwork. In the video description, there will be a link to this training program. So somewhere in the video description, click that link to that process server training program. Or if you need to get documents served, I can pretty much get them served, all over the place, because I have process servers in my network nationwide. There's also a link to order service or process. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and then make sure you hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when I upload additional videos.